Hi, welcome to Attempted Living. We believe that knowledge is power, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some powerful knowledge on how to get promoted and in general, how to do really well at your job. We're going to approach the question of how to get promoted from three angles. One is from the work mindset, the second is from the relationship mindset, and the third is from the business mindset. So I'm going to share three perspectives to think about work so that you can be successful at work. The first perspective is the work perspective. This is the one that most people are very familiar with, which is if you're hired to do a job, you should probably do the job you were hired to do. So if your manager asks you to move things from one place to another, to answer emails, to do specific tasks, to solve problems, then whatever they ask you to do, you should do that to the best of your ability. That is the baseline for establishing yourself at work. If you have trouble, ask for help, use Google, use your friends, do your best to learn how to do your job until you can do your job well. That's from the work perspective, the first step you should do. Now that you've established that you're good at doing the job you've been hired to do, your next goal is to get promoted. And an important thing to understand when you're trying to get promoted is that a couple of things. One, you will never be promoted to the next level by doing your current work well. You will only be promoted to the next level if you can do the next level's job well. So what does this mean? So let's say that you are a dishwasher at a restaurant, and let's say the next promotion is a chef, where you cook the food at the restaurant. No matter how well you wash dishes, you will never be promoted to a cook unless you show that you can actually cook. So in the same way, at your job, whatever level you are at, no matter how well you do that level of work, you will never be promoted unless you show that you can do the next level's work. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you show that you can do the next level's work? So the question then is, what is the next level's work? What is the work of the next level? One of the easy ways to know and learn what the next level's work is by talking to your manager. Because likely a good promotion for you is to be promoted to the position of your manager. And so I would highly recommend that you develop a closer relationship with your manager and figure out what is the problems that your manager thinks about and how do they solve them, so that you can learn to think like your manager and to solve problems like your manager, so that when you're at work, when you're doing the job that you've been paid and assigned to do, you can also do the job that your manager's been paid and assigned to do. And if you do this carefully, then your manager will love you a lot because you're making your manager's job easier. And you will benefit from this because you will be learning the next level's job, so that you can demonstrate and show that you could be promoted to the next level and do that next job. One of the ways that you can do this is to start offering ideas to your manager on how you've been doing your current work and how it can be done better. Whatever you're doing for your current job, come up with ideas for how to do it better and then present it to your manager. This shows that you're engaged at work, you're interested at doing well, and you're intelligent at coming up with solutions to problems, which is a good thing. Then, once you've gotten good at coming up with ideas, the next skill that most managers need to have is to choose between multiple ideas, which is called prioritizing. So let's say you've come up with a way to wash dishes faster, and you've also come up with a way to wash dishes with less water and less soap. So then between the two, what is more important to the manager? Do they want speed or do they want to save money? So understanding what the priority is for the manager is important, because if the manager cares about speed and you show them ideas for how to save money, then they will not benefit from your ideas and they will not be interested, and it won't benefit you to be presenting those ideas. So it's important to understand your manager's priorities as well as the priorities of the overall company. However, it begins with your manager. So once you figure out your manager's priorities, show that you align with your manager and can think like your manager. Then when you present an idea that is the priority of that the manager cares about, when you do it, find a way to measure it. That's the third thing you need to do, which is to measure the impact of your idea so that you can definitively prove with written documentation that before you came to the company, this is how things were, and this is how, how fast dishwashing was. Then you came up with an idea, and then this is how fast you can wash dishes now. Like first it was 4 dishes per minute, now it's 6 dishes per minute. Like there needs to be some number that you can write down to prove that your idea improved the business. So this is how you get credit for your work. So then once you can do this, now your manager starts to like you a lot, right? However, this runs into a problem, because if you're doing your manager's job really well, then what's going to happen to your manager? If they promote you to your manager's role, then does your manager get fired? Like your manager wants to keep their job. So if you rise up to challenge the job position of your manager, then you're going to lose. So what you need to do next, once you've established that 1, you can do your job well, and 2, you work really well with your manager, then 3, the third thing you need to do is to understand the rest of the company. What about your manager's co-managers? What about your manager's manager? What do they care about? So you need to come up with ideas to make their jobs better. You want to come up with ideas to improve your manager's life, to improve your manager's co-manager's life. If you can do this, then they can consider creating a new management role for you, or create some new role for you. Whatever that role is, show that you can contribute to the company, in particular people who have power and influence at the company. Then if you show that you can come up with ideas, prioritize in a way that aligns with what they want, and you can measure the impact so that you can prove that you're contributing, then they will look into creating a new job for you to be promoted into, so that you can continue doing that kind of work for them, because it's highly beneficial for them, and they can hire somebody else to do the level of work that you were doing before. So that's from the work mindset, the work perspective of how you can get promoted. The second perspective I want to talk about is relationship. So from the relationship mindset, when you join a company, you want to build a good relationship with your manager. You're probably going to have a terrible time if you don't get along with your manager. If you want to get promoted, then it's almost impossible to do so if your manager does not approve it and hates you. Your manager is the one who is your voice to the rest of the company. If you think about it, you are here, you interact with the manager, and then your manager talks about you to everyone else. So, and everyone else are the people with power, right? The manager's manager and the manager's co-managers, they all have the power to create new positions for you to be promoted into. And if they think highly of you, then you have a good chance of getting that new position. But if they think bad of you, then you have 0 chance. And your manager's manager doesn't work with you. Your manager's co-managers they don't work with you. The only person that works with you are your coworkers and your manager. Your coworkers do not have power and influence, but your manager does. So if you want to get promoted, you need to have your manager on your side. So you need to develop a good relationship with your manager. Oftentimes, people will talk about how they hate their manager, like they don't get along with their manager. They will, they will, if you run into a manager where you think your manager is underqualified for their job, this is a pretty common story where the manager, like the employee, thinks the manager is dumb, right? So you think your manager is dumb and you hate your manager and they're incompetent and unqualified and all these things. The worst thing you can do is to then attack that manager with your hatred, because chances are, if your manager has been promoted into a role that they are underqualified for, they probably know. Like, they're probably struggling, they're probably afraid, they're probably insecure, they're probably like worried about being fired themselves because they are underqualified and incompetent. And so if you start attacking them, then that's going to freak them out. So from a relationship standpoint, if your manager makes a mistake, even if they're a brilliant manager and they start making mistakes and you start attacking those mistakes, then they are going to see you as a threat. So from a relationship standpoint, it's never a good idea to be attacking your manager or lashing out with your hatred and anger. If they're having these emotional problems, you should be their manager by calming them down, solving their problems, healing them, making them feel competent, so that they can then start helping you. You want to build that trust relationship no matter how incompetent or dumb you think that manager is. Because if you mess up the relationship with your manager, you will have a terrible time. You should probably leave the company. Or if you want to stay, then the way to make it work is to be understanding that they got promoted for whatever reason to this role. And now they are in this role where they are underqualified and they're struggling. And if you attack them, they're going to attack you back. So if you want to progress in your career, you got to help them, and then they're going to be thankful and appreciate and help you back. And if they don't thank you and they don't appreciate you for helping them back, that's still okay, because by helping them, you are again demonstrating skills at the next level, which then you can bring to your interviews for your next position. Because at the end of the day, what will last with you are the skills that you have. That's very key. So yes, hopefully, from the relationship mindset, you want to develop a good relationship with your manager. No matter how you like the manager or you don't like the manager, you need to have a good relationship. So figure out a way to have a good relationship, and then work together with your manager so that you're a team to accomplish great things together, demonstrate your skills at your level and at other levels, so that, again, they can create a position to promote you into. So we covered the work perspective, then we covered the relationship perspective. Now we're going to talk about the business perspective. And this is a key one that a lot of people miss out on, which is that, let's say you do your job amazingly well, and then you develop a great relationship with your manager, and your manager loves you, and you love your manager. And you show your manager that you can do amazing work, you can come up with ideas, and you're 100% capable of being promoted to the next level. The business mindset will decide, the business perspective will decide whether that happens or not. So let's say that we are at a restaurant and there are 2 dishwashers, right? So you washing dishes and someone else is washing dishes. And let's say that you want to be promoted to a cook. Okay, we're going to use the same example as earlier, right? To be a cook. However, right now, there's already someone who's cooking. And you're not going to do, like, and the cook already does their job and is great. So then, and the restaurant and so there's no business reason for you to be moved from dishwasher to cook, because the restaurant doesn't need another cook. So you won't get promoted because it doesn't make sense for the restaurant to have another cook. So in that same way, when you're looking to get promoted to another position, make sure that it makes sense to the business for them to create that other position. Because you could go to your manager and say, hey, I have great ideas for improving the business in this way. However, if the business doesn't want to improve in that way, then they won't create a position for it. So this is similar to the earlier example of washing dishes faster or washing dishes cheaper. If you come up with a new job that will allow dishes to be washed cheaper, but they care about washing dishes faster, then they will not create that position to promote you into it. So yes, so those are the three mindsets that you should keep in mind when you're at work. Do your job well. Demonstrate that you can do the work of the position that you want to be promoted to. Develop a good relationship with your manager, regardless of what you think about your manager. If your manager is having trouble, don't attack your manager. Help your manager. And then the fourth one is recognize that your promotion and the creation of the job that you're going to be promoted to is based on whether the business needs and wants that position. And that ties back into understanding the company's priorities and goals, which was discussed during the work mindset of coming up with ideas that align with what the business wants. Okay, I hope this video helps you have the knowledge and power to do well and get promoted at wherever you are. Please leave your comments below and subscribe if you like this video. And remember, there are more resources at attemptedliving.com.